How you doing, guys? It's Steve here from Globaltel. Thanks for joining us again in the Digital Marketing Co-work Collective for our Monday morning double shots. A shot of digital marketing and a shot of coffee quickly in the morning, just to get the week started, give you guys a little bit of value in the morning, and hopefully kick your week off on a positive. Maybe learn a bit of something you didn't know. So with that in mind, our guest today on the double shot is Simon, who interesting story how I met him was obviously, for those who've been following obviously in the community, we've had a few issues with our streaming and our live streaming getting going, and Simon was witness to that the last Monday when we did it, and he in a friendly way jumped forward and said, hey mate, you need to check out the solution. So he gave us a little bit of a solution, and it got me thinking that this was really helpful, and I thought Simon could maybe share some value to the community in terms of maybe just sharing a little bit about the value of video in digital marketing at the moment. Obviously it's what he's key to. Obviously Simon will hear what you do now, and maybe just share whatever you think that the community, as I said, it's a community of digital marketers, digital agency owners, founders, and I think in this time we'll discuss a little bit of COVID, the resurgence in people doing video and getting out there because we're sitting at home and we can't go out and meet in person. So I would love to just chat to you a little bit about things. So Jörg, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I'm very good. I've got my coffee, and I'm almost raring to go. Once I finish that, I probably will be. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So quickly, just very briefly, what do you do exactly? What is your place in the communities on social and in digital marketing?
Okay, so I have two arms, literally, but yeah, I have two arms to the business. So I have Perception Studios, which is my visual marketing agency. I founded it 6 years ago, and we create content, social media content specifically, whether it's video, animation, aerial work, photography, graphics, all sorts of stuff for big brands, basically for their social media. So we've done campaigns with agencies for people like Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Lay's for the international audience, or Walkers for the UK. Lots of different great brands, as well as smaller companies as well. But a couple of years ago, my dad passed away, and he left a huge legacy behind him, which I never knew about. He was an engineer in the Merchant Navy, and he'd taught a lot of apprentices to be at the position they're in now. And they were all coming forward when Dad passed away, and I was kind of letting people know. They were all coming forward and saying, I wouldn't be doing what I do now if it wasn't for your dad. Wow. And so I kind of had a bit of a reset in my mindset, and they still had the video business, but I wanted to think about actually what is it that I'm going to leave behind as a legacy. I've got my family and things like that, but as a business, I wanted to be able to help as many people as I possibly could do. I didn't want to just be that another video agency saying, well, if you have video, you'll increase your SEO and increase your dwell times and increase your conversion rates by having a video on your website, and then somebody gets a video on the website and it does nothing because they've not really told anybody about it. So I went into a more of an education style of content for myself, and started really pushing on the value side of things, which we were chatting about before, and just trying to help as many people as I possibly could understand the value of social media content, video being one aspect of that, which is probably the biggest aspect of social media at the moment. Yeah. But actually, what else could they do themselves? But most importantly, for free, because I was going to all these networking events, and it was becoming really obvious people just didn't have the budget to have content created consistently, which is what you need to do on social media, whether it be video, podcasting, blogging, whatever it is, to grow that organic audience. So I wrote a book about it. I created a process called How to 9 Times Your Social Media, and wrote a book. It went to #1 on Amazon. And basically that's what I try and do on my personal brand, is just try and help as many people understand, look, yeah, video is one arm of it, but you can do so much else for free. But most importantly, for smaller brands and businesses, even the smaller agencies, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'd love to be able to do all that, but I don't have the time or the process, and what you can do can actually create time so you can actually do it. And so that's me in a nutshell, without giving you all my back history.
That's quite a resume. I mean, the book is quite interesting. I mean, I didn't know that you'd done that. I mean, obviously, I think that's something that we will definitely, obviously give people access to if you've got a link or whatever, they can purchase it or whatever. I think that might be of value.
during
Oh,
the
great.
during the craziness, it's completely free. So yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. So look, I think, and I think another key is if anybody's watching and you guys do feel like you could get some value from Simon in your own agency, or you could pick his brain a little bit like we are here, by all means, get in touch with us, or you can reach out to him on the group. But Simon, just quickly, I mean, obviously, as I said, we try to make this as valuable as possible for people watching and for the people who catch it later on in the recording or whatever. But what are 2 or 3 things that any digital agency owner or founder concerned about social media for themselves or for their clients? Do you have 2 or 3 things that they can do, like you say, for free, that you can maybe give them right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the process that I'll take you really quickly through the process, and I
Sure.
promise really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
So number one, you need to know who your avatar is. If your agency or if your client doesn't know who their avatar is, you're completely screwed.
Yeah.
You understand who your avatar is
Yeah.
for this group and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So know your avatar. Your client then has to put together a marketing plan. Once they put together a plan, what I try and do is help people get into a stage where they can do video. The biggest fear behind video is I'm going to look like a bit of a knobhead. So how do you overcome that real fear of that? It generally is tied back into I don't know what I'm going to talk about, which is why you do the planning. But then if you get them to blog and actually write something, everybody can write. Even if it's just a bunch of bullet points, everybody can do that. They can write on a subject matter really succinctly. So then you can use that blog as a storyboard for your video. So I basically that's what I try and suggest is do a blog. It helps open that doorway, clear the mind a little bit of actually now I do know what I'm going to talk about, so that when you sit down in front of doing a video and getting your clients to sit down in front of doing a video, they know the subject matter because they've already written about it.
Right.
The other big thing that I try and get people to overcome the fear of is actually going live, because if you let them just sit and record, they're going to spend all day just going to stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, because it's not
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
But if you go live and you make a
There's not.
mistake, you've just
Yeah.
got to
You
keep
have
going.
more options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we, yeah, and
live,
we've done that. We've learned that lesson ourselves in the community. I mean, a few lives that we've done were a disaster. One was upside down. But it's been that we're not we're not technical people. So I think that live thing, what you've hit on there in terms of having a fear of going live and a fear of looking like a knobhead, like you say, is it's without a doubt the most common thing that we see with people who are doing video.
yeah, that totally. And you're only going to improve. You're only going to get better at it. When I did my first radio show, because I'm a former radio presenter, I was awful. When I did my first ever live TV show, I presented it like a radio show, because you
Yeah.
forget there's a visual and you can stop
Yeah.
and let people consume what you've got to say. So so yeah, live video is just I just feel essential. I really do feel is essential.
Yeah.
So, but and the main reason for that is because number one, you can't stop and start. There's no necessary level of perfection, but also once you've finished it, you can download that piece of content and you can actually turn it into more content. And that's probably something most agencies would be most interested in, because it's a service they can sell, but also it's something that somebody can do themselves. One of their clients could do themselves for free, and they could give it away as free advice. Is look, learn how to edit a piece of content, and like for example, this piece of content we're doing right now, each one of these questions and each one of these points can be edited out as an individual point, turned into another piece of content, and you've got content for a whole week. Hence, how to 9 times your social media. You've written one blog, but you can turn that one blog into a live video, into multiple live small videos, into a podcast by taking the audio off it, into memes by taking quotes out of it and turning those into memes. There's so much you can do just by repurposing one piece of content and making it work harder for you.
Yeah, awesome. Look, I think you've hit on a bunch of really key things. I think one thing that I know a lot of you've answered a lot of the questions, as I said, that I think a lot of people who are thinking about getting into digital or into video are concerned of. I think one thing that we haven't spoken about is the fear of the quality. We as social media people, we like to put out, we like to put out the best looking, must be filtered, that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people are concerned. I think that's where the live element comes in of, I don't want to create something for my client that is that they perceive as low quality. In my opinion, I come from very much of outcome is the end of the day. Is what matters is the outcome, and the outcome is leads generated into sales.
Yeah.
So whether that's a shitty video that doesn't really look great but delivers a great message and converts leads into sales, that's a better result. That's a better video than one that's well produced and expensive and whatnot. So is there any advice you can give to people about getting started and just some key things that they can do about improving the quality without spending too much money, or just getting going? Because I think a lot of people also use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, I need to buy a microphone and then I need to get a studio going and then I'll start doing video. When actually we've got this right here, just start pumping it out, kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, the main thing I would definitely recommend is that, not that. So basically, film in portrait, not in landscape, or not in portrait. Yeah. And that's the worst thing ever. There's nothing worse than those two black lines.
Are you a Reddit user by any chance? Because that's a big thing on Reddit. People lose their minds. Yeah, cool. I always say it's the way that our eyes are positioned on our head. Our eyes aren't positioned like this; they're positioned like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
That's the first point. The second one, you can buy external mics that you can plug into your phones. Obviously, even the new iPhones where they've removed the headphone socket, you can still get like really randomly priced, like really cheaply priced lapel mics that you could use. As in tips I would give to people, number one is the lens of the camera is there. So for example, I'm talking to you right now, the lens is here. The lens isn't where I'm talking to you, looking at you on the screen. Talk to your audience is behind the lens. So when I had my first what's called a radio snoop, when your boss sits down and goes, this is crap, this is crap, this is good, the main thing that came out of it was, you need to learn to speak to the audience, Simon. And I was kind of talking at them rather than talking to them. And so I had to find a way of breaking down that barrier of the fact that there's nobody here. When I go live, it's not always with somebody else. It's sometimes just me. The audience isn't laughing at my jokes. The audience isn't looking at me. So how can I break that barrier down? And what I did was I stuck a teddy bear on the windowsill behind the microphone in the studio, and I spoke to the teddy bear. And you can essentially do the same thing with your lens on your camera. You can stick a photo of your other half behind it, a photo of one of your kids, a best friend, whatever it may be, or a teddy bear. But just make sure it's something that's going to make you speak to that lens rather than to the screen. We're all beautiful people, but we don't need to keep looking at ourselves. Another way of stopping yourself looking at yourself is, because of the process that I take people through, the blog is that first point. You can take key points out of that blog and write them as bullet points, stick them on a Post-it note, and then stick that Post-it note over your screen. Then you can't look at yourself, but there's nothing so bad as glancing now and again just to quickly check where you're going with your story. So then you're kind of using them as call points, but stopping yourself looking at yourself. So those are kind of like some of the main kind of tips that I try to give people when they're doing content. Definitely the landscape one is a big one though.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Yeah, it's a pet peeve, I know. The potato quality as well. Look, thank you very much for sharing, Simon. I think there's a lot more that we can get from you, and I'd love to have you on at a later date as well. Maybe once we've developed the community a little bit more, and hopefully, guys, if you do have any questions that have come up during this, I mean, ironically, we talked about going live. I just want to give Simon and my apologies for not going live on this one, because there's a little bit of a delay, and it's we're working week and looking after kids and whatnot, so we had to pre-record this one. But hopefully in the future we will do these live and whatever. But Simon, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And as I say, hopefully in the future we can get you back on, maybe for a little bit more in depth, and maybe get some questions out. We can do, the cool thing about the community is we're only just building. We're only about 70 or 80 people in the community at the moment, but it's starting to get a bit lively. We're starting to get a bit of engagement. So guys, we really encourage you, ask questions in the comments down below, or message Simon directly. Simon, I'll make sure to put all of your contact details, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. I'll chuck them all over to you.
Beautiful. And then, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys in the community and next week in the double shot. Thanks again, Simon. We'll see you again soon.
No worries. Take care.
Thanks, bro. Be well.